Attention, all you fishes in the sea. Welcome to the Fisch Bowl with Sam Fish.
Sam Fish, the Fisch Bowl here at Horror Realm Con 2026 with the infamous, the villainous Andrew Divoff. Thank you for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me.
Thank you, Fish.
Absolutely. As I started to tell you yesterday, I've literally been following your career since I was a kid. So many roles, not enough time to talk about everything. Number one, obviously, Wishmaster. Instant classic, movie monster villain.
Thank you.
I've interviewed Robert Kurtzman, the director, and one of the masterminds behind the makeup and everything. Any stories from the set, the makeup process?
Really the story, especially when I think about Robert, was how we sort of collaborated, and the collaboration became really, at first it was the question, what do we do with the voice?
Mm-hmm.
And with a bit of serendipity. So after having first started taking my lunch breaks and eating whole food and trying to get that into the mask,
Mm-hmm.
which was apropos of that. But one of the things that Robert said to me was, "We're really going to have to exaggerate to make that mask move, and even the slightest gesture. So you'll feel like you're overacting, but really go for it." So we got that. But then I noticed after lunch that one of the most humbling things was having the makeup crew pick out pieces of food from between the mask and my face, and I said, "Well, we have to stop that, and we have to change it." And so what that became, my lunch essentially became a protein shake, and because of the whey and the protein shake, thankfully that got the voice. It made the voice a little more gurgly, and so the first night we were down in Wilmington, and we filmed the scene just outside of with Buck Flowers at the dumpster, and with Reggie Bannister in the pharmacy. And I think the end of that whole scene was Buck Flowers running away after he sees that this is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that. One of my favorite quotes in the movie, which is "Rotten instinct, rotten." and so all I had to see was that Robert was quite pleased with that. And so we knew at that point that we had the voice. We had gone, is it going to be a British accent? What is it going to be? And I thought whatever it would be, whatever accent wasn't the important thing. It was the fact that the voice had to sound like it was coming up out of the earth, like from the bowels of the earth. I think we got that.
100%. The voice is one of the most iconic villainous voices, especially for, again, one of the most iconic movie monster villains. One of my all-time favorites. Another film, they've been playing it like crazy on, I believe, Showtime. Another 48 Hours.
Oh, wonderful, man! What a fun thing that was. And the fun thing about that was that I got to ride a Harley on somebody else's dime, essentially. So they put the gas in it, and all I had to do was, crank the throttle. I had a lot of fun, just working with that whole crew, being part of a movie with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. But the funnest part of it was hanging out with the bad guys. My good friend David Anthony Marshall and Ted Markland. We literally hung out together, and we sort of became a gang. So that by the time we got to that set in Baker in Dumont Dunes, out in the desert, we had sort of figured each other out. We were a gang, and that I'll never forget that first day of shooting. I remember my mom had passed away before we began filming, 3 days before we began.
Oh, wow.
And so I was fortunate enough to go see her. She was an expat, having been part of a consulate in the embassy in Barcelona, Spain, long story short, and Guatemala City, Guatemala. I was fortunate enough to visit her and be with her when she passed. And so that morning, I remember when we started, it was December 4th, and I took a little bit of a walk into the desert, and I just remembered my mom.
Another great villainous role I loved you in, Air Force One.
Oh, well, thank you. what a wonderful thing that was, being able to work with Mr. Ford. What a brilliant guy and a generous guy on film, and I think really after all, what made him, if I can even say, a small Andy fan was the fact that we hit it off so well for the stunts. That fight in the galley, I'll never forget that, and I'll never forget. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Harrison is the king of actors who do stunts, and he really, I mean, because for him, it's not an ego trip. It's not about being able to say that. It's about the continuity of the character, and he was that was his thing. That was what he emphasized, and I could tell just by watching him. And so, to be able to have a fight as a newbie,
Right.
with Mr. Ford made my day. And by the way, if he heard me call him Mr. Ford, he'd say, my father's Mr. Ford. Call me Harrison or Harry. So, love you, Harry.
And I just found this out not too long ago about Harrison Ford. Before he was known as Harrison Ford, he was a
carpenter
and a roadie for the Doors.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Holy goodness, man.
Yeah.
Holy goodness. How cool is that? You talk about a cool background, man.
Right.
I would have liked to be a fly on that wall.
Exactly. Another horror film that I love of yours, The Graveyard Shift.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I have good memories from that. I remember we were filming in Bangor, Maine, in this warehouse, in the basement of a warehouse, of a working mill, as a matter of fact. And so we were always told, especially because the mills were going to be working, and these things were like monsters in their own right. They had these claws that would shred the wool and separate, the grist, I guess, from what would become the wool thread. That was a trip, and they always told us, when you walk by these things, be very aware and be careful because they'll eat you. And I remember one of the quick asides about that was I remember Mr. King coming down to the set, and I was at the craft service table and just kind of figuring out, and I looked up and I said, "Oh, hey, Mr. King," and he looked over at me through the glasses and he nodded, which I felt, oh wow, he nodded at me. So it was quite a beautiful film and a beautiful time. I remember in my days off, I would head down to Bar Harbor and just walk along that beautiful town and breathe in some of that beautiful sea air. I'll never forget that. Good memories for that. And at night, when we were filming at night, I remember we had buzz bombers, which they call black flies. Apparently, those things never sleep. But it was a beautiful time and a beautiful memory.
One of my top favorite, I guess, monster movie Stephen King films. The whole concept of like a giant like bat kind of rodent thing hiding in a graveyard-ish thing. It's B-movie brilliantness.
It is, and I must give a shout out to Ralph Singleton. This was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his first time directing, and he was wonderful. It was wonderful working with David Andrews and with Stephen Mocht. What a beautiful human Stephen Mocht is, and the fact that he got that accent down, not an easy accent to get, that Maine accent.
Right.
He did it beautifully, and was, if I may say, he was quite hated by the cast, as I suppose makes sense because of that character, tough character, a guy. If you were in the army, you wouldn't want him to be your staff.
Right. Awesome. Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me.
If I may call you Fish?
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
brother. I appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. Sam Fisch, the Fisch Bowl here. Horror Realm 2026 with the great and wonderful Caroline Williams.
Thank you, Fish.
Absolutely.
We're swimming.
We're swimming in the bowl. Awesome. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, my absolute favorite in the entire franchise.
Thank you.
I think we're talking about a possible remake, reboot.
The reboot is definitely happening. Glenn Powell's Barnstorm Productions won the contest with Kim Henkel's Vortex, which is the holding company for the IP. JT Molnar of Austin, Texas is going to be directing. He's terrific. He did Strange Darling, which is a terrific film.
Yes, that's a great one.
I think the movie is going to really fulfill Toby's original vision for the Texas Chainsaw original, which is, was inducted in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and then Chainsaw 2, where Texas is a character in the film.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to seeing that return, because I think the franchise overall has lost most of its authenticity because of just simply the wrong locations.
Yes. I mean, part 3, I think, was the last maybe like watchable one. As much as I like seeing Matthew McConaughey as a crazy psychopath, which I think he's really underrated at, like, not getting enough of those types of roles, like seeing him in The Next Generation. He was actually my favorite character in Next Generation.
Yeah.
But as far as part 2 goes, the characters are so unique. There's something like really wacky, but like special and artistic as well about part 2. And coming from Pittsburgh, the great Tom Savini,
of course,
the effects.
It was wonderful.
Yes.
He's wonderful.
Yes. Any stories about Tobe Hooper or Dennis Hopper from the shoot?
Well, I mean, Toby was really under the gun with Canon because he was editing Invaders from Mars at the same time that he was directing Chainsaw 2, our film. So I don't know that he was getting much sleep at all. I know it was very, very challenging for him. Toby was always real simple about his direction. Bigger, stronger, louder, smaller, make your crazy face, more screaming. I mean, it was always very basic, which works well for me. I don't want to hear a long psychological dissertation about things. We want to make our shots. We want to make our day. And the movie is very hard and fast. I'm in nearly every frame of the film. So my responsibility was huge, but I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed the athleticism. I enjoyed the underground lair. It was play. I was playing and I was having a good time. As far as Dennis Hopper, his filmography is so extraordinary.
Right.
And to hear his stories about his friends, Natalie Wood, James Dean, Nick Adams, it was just, working for Nick Ray, working for George Stevens, hearing about Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson. And he was living Hollywood movie history. And he made history with his film, Easy Rider.
Yes.
Now, he was very much, and he had a long history of drug and alcohol use. And, both of us were 18 months sober when we started making the film. So we really did have a lot of sobriety that we could share with each other. One of my best stories that I have about Dennis, he knew Miles Davis. He knew.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he knew Thelonious Monk. I mean, some of the greatest saxophone players who ever lived. And I invited him to join me on 6th Street in Austin to hear a saxophone player I love named Kirk Whalum. We go to the show and, he reminds me, he knows all these world famous musicians. We get there, Dennis is right in front of the stage. He is watching Kirk play. He is transported by this. He is digging the scene. He's into it. We go to work the next morning and he shows up and he goes, I took Caroline to see this really great saxophone player I love named Kirk Whalum. So, yeah, exactly. He was very charismatic. Everything I know about acting for film, I learned from him. And it was so illuminating and insightful to learn about lens sizes, composition, lighting, things I'd never really paid attention to. Because as an actor, you're sort of trained for stage. You're not trained for film. So it was an absolute revelation to have learned these things. And I do think it informed my performance really strongly.
Was there any type of like improvisation in Texas Part 2, or was it?
Not for me so much. My role I'm Dorothy in Oz.
Right.
And so, being that principal character, everything in my world is scripted, and all these crazy characters just revolve around me. LG, Lefty, Chop Top, the cook, Leatherface.
Right.
And my improvisational stuff was very limited. And plus, my role is so physical.
Yes.
I'm always running, jumping, playing, falling down, fighting. It's always something. So, but it was fantastic to be surrounded by these great actors, especially Bill Moseley playing Chop Top.
Yes.
Because they just let him go. And he was feeling the character so much. He was enjoying the moments so much. And he kept coming, he kept embroidering. There was always more and more and more. And it gave me so much to work with and react to. It was, it was the role of a lifetime.
Well, I have to say, and I'm sorry if I'm giving away any spoilers here, but the chainsaw battle between Dennis Hopper and Leatherface. Oh my God! Like,
Dennis Hopper had the most amazing stunt double. His name was Jim Stevenson. He was literally an acrobat. He could go from standing still to jumping up on top of that table, doing all the chainsaw stuff. He was very powerful. He was very strong. And that certainly informed a lot of Dennis's performance. My favorite scene in the movie, personally, is not even one of my scenes. It's the scene on the bridge.
at the beginning.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
It's absolutely masterful because you've got the actor in the Leatherface costume, but he's obscured by nubbins.
Right.
He's built up on a platform on a truck. They're traveling at an extreme, about 35 miles per hour on a bridge that is, in fact, very short.
Yes.
But Toby made it look like it was a mile long. And the way everything is edited together, I think it's one of the most exciting scenes in almost any horror film.
I would agree. And it also has, like, what has become a classic trope where it's like you introduce a bunch of characters right off the bat at the beginning that you think or somehow could be, the protagonists, and then you kill them off as like the first victims.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I thought that was brilliant. Confusing the audience into your character archetype, the heroic, female lead, and it's an amazing performance. And I also have to say, like, you mentioned something before about how it's very like bam, bam, bam the whole way through.
Yes.
And then the track that they play at the end when the credits roll, the only film that I can think of that pretty much copied like the same format was Reservoir Dogs.
I didn't realize that.
It's, well, in the sense of like
I had never thought of it before.
I kind of followed it because I remember like the time I was really watching Texas Part 2, and I was really getting refamiliarized with like Quentin Tarantino and his filmography, and the way Texas Chainsaw like starts out, and then like it's very like bam, 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 and then like almost like an abrupt ending.
Sure.
Reservoir Dogs kind of does the same thing, and then literally the climax, and then playing, the famous song at the end, which is going against the tone of the film. You have this like heavy kind of, in your face kind of thing, and then like a mellow, almost kind of song to kind of top it off, both ending kind of abruptly. So that's just my own personal film analogy for Texas and Reservoir Dogs. But another one of my all-time favorites, Leprechaun 3.
Oh, thank you. I love that film.
Yes.
Had so much fun on it.
And I also have to say, no spoilers alert, but you have the best death scene in the entire franchise.
To this day, it's one of the top 5 horror deaths. Absolutely.
And I had a chance to meet Warwick at one of the other conventions we had here in Pittsburgh a few years back. I've been a fan of Warwick probably as long as I've been a fan of yours. And I was wondering, what was it like working with Warwick, and how much of the Leprechaun is like in the script, and how much is like Warwick's own contribution to the
Well,
character.
as Warwick himself has said, he's buried under pounds of latex and costume and his hat, and the Warwick we know is obscured by all these appliances. So, he basically just animates, the makeup. And his job is very hard. It's very hot under all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always in motion. He's always doing something. So his challenge was really playing that character very, very unique. The rest of us got to be a little bit more kind of normal characters. I have to say, Brian Trenchard Smith is masterful about telling the story. Once again, with a lot of unique and interesting characters. Yes. And, I got to do a transformation scene. You don't get to do that very much in the business. Go from this frumpy, frowsy, sad little person to being somebody really fabulous and then blowing up. So, and I have to say, it's enjoying a lot of new life. We do a lot of screenings around St. Patrick's Day. We do a lot of signings. The character has really caught on again with the public. And when I come to the signing shows, people are really interested in Leprechaun. They really enjoy it.
That's one franchise I would love, only if Warwick would return. Like, it wouldn't, I don't think it would be the same without Warwick, but like I remember hearing that there were possible talks that the original creator was trying to get the rights back, and then unfortunately he just passed away. But I give it in the right hands and get Warwick to come back. Let's get a whole new generation of Leprechaun fans and Leprechaun reboots going. Like that's
well, they did Leprechaun 10,
yes,
and brought in somebody else that's newer and much younger. Physically speaking, I don't know that it's something he would want to take on again because he's gotten older, and
right.
we all get a little creaky, but he's an utterly remarkable guy. We get creepy. That was Bill. That was my buddy Bill Mosley. But yeah, I've had a nice long career, and taking a little sabbatical during marriage and motherhood. But the last 8 years, I've been hitting it pretty hard, and I've got 6 films that will be out this year. One is going to festival, will be at Fantastic Fest. It's called What Did You Do? It stars an incredible young actor named Johnny Stoddard. He's currently doing series television, and it's a film noir. We shot in Austin. Stephen Romano wrote and directed.
Awesome.
I'm very excited about that. And we have a documentary about the making of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That's going to be coming out from Heather Buckley. She did The Short Life and Ghastly Death of Al Adamson, which is one of the all-time great horror kind of grindhouse documentaries. And it's a really cool thing. So it's going to be a fun year for me. I'm really excited about it. And I thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For letting me take a swim.
Thank you for diving in head first.
Of course.
And we came out on top, and we're riding the waves.
Absolutely.
Caroline Williams, everyone. Thank you so much.
Tune into the Fisch Bowl.
Hey there, all my fishes in the sea. Thanks for tuning into today's episode and for being a subscriber. Your continued listenership and support means the most and helps keep the show growing to deeper and deeper depths. I want to let all my guppies in the sea know the Fisch Bowl has now officially partnered with FastCustomShirts.com, where they're now selling custom Fisch Bowl t-shirts under their podcast and website section. Every t-shirt that's purchased helps and goes a long way to keep the show growing to deeper and deeper and higher depths. I also now have custom hats, beanies, handbags, pens, mouse pads, everything to make you look like the coolest looking fish in the sea, which you can DM me directly on Instagram at thefishbowl88 or on Facebook at just the Fisch Bowl, or you can friend request me, Sam Fish, directly and get yours today. Your continued listenership and support again means the most. It's the most important fishes that flock together. We are a school of fish, and we keep the unit going. Let's all keep swimming upstream.